In today's world, we are increasingly dependent on technology. Our business and personal lives rely on it, but as you've probably noticed, it's unreliable. They promise it'll get better, but it usually gets worse. Our computers are slow, so we end up squinting at smartphones and tablets. We live in constant fear that something's going to happen to our personal data, so we're scared into paying for fake protection that proves useless when disaster strikes. Update attacks, fake Wi-Fi, cloud control, and other industry scandals are designed to keep the money flowing. The jokers we pay to fix our stuff have no clue what they're doing, so they do a virus scan and then wipe out our precious photos. Intelligent, successful people feel intimidated by the chaos and think it's somehow their fault. If they only knew what the industry was doing to them, they'd get torches and pitchforks. If only we had someone to explain it all in plain English so we can start protecting ourselves. Oh wait, we do! It's the Computer Exorcist Podcast with your host, Mark Anthony Arena.
From the Wallace Memorial microphone in my home office, somewhere in Western New York, it's the Computer Exorcist Podcast. My name is Mark Anthony Arena. Thank you so much for joining me. TheComputerExorcist.com if you want to buy a copy of my book, How to Protect Yourself from Your Computer, or if you want to take my training course, which is called Become an Exorcist, teaches you how to become a computer exorcist. Or if you're just a fan of the show, you can buy hoodies and coffee mugs for everyone you know. Okay, this episode, I've got more articles in the backlog about the car industry. And no guests, no nothing, just me today, trying to clear out this backlog of articles that you need to know about. So here we go. April of 2018, Roundel magazine, which is the BMW car fan club magazine. And years ago I had a BMW, and it was an awesome car, but it fell apart all day, every day. It was the least reliable thing ever. This article is from Mihai Lipe, who normally just writes serious articles about driving safety, which are good but dry. This one she decides to do a little satire, and I think it's very funny and very poignant. New features just an April Alexa away. So she says, our spies have burrowed deep into BMW research and development labs to uncover several top secret programs in development. The BMW is coming out with an extensive suite of options on select 2018 and 2019 models. And it's funny because a lot of these, even though it's satire, a lot of them are coming true because of the extreme incompetence and arrogance of this auto industry and the extreme haste with which they are trying to control you. They're so eager to get these features out there to start controlling humanity that they're just, it's a good thing because their impatience is actually hurting them. And people are starting to realize, right, if you're a frog in a pot of water and it starts to boil too quickly, you realize it. So it's a good thing that these control freaks are impatient. Anyway, so this is funny stuff that could actually happen. If it was 3-4 years from now and I was reading this article, it might not be satire. It might be stuff that actually came true. Okay. Feature 1. BMW takes wireless mirroring of your mobile device to a whole new level by offering an app that shows the view out of your windshield onto your screen, so you never have to actually look up to see where you're going. Cigarette lighters and ashtrays are now automotive relics. However, a vape fluid warmer and recharger will be available in select models. If you own a late model BMW, your vehicle automatically tracks your mileage, service intervals, driving habits, shifting adaptations, and the like. Some cars are now ineligible to be certified pre-owned if the service intervals are way off because of negligent or forgetful owners. I think that part's actually true, which is incredibly scary, right? All of you need to read the book A Clockwork Orange because it talks about freedom, right? Yeah, you should be able to have the freedom to do the right thing or do the wrong thing. But these cars are so capable now that evil designers think that they should use them to control you. So anyway, that part I believe is true, that your car can attack you if you don't get it serviced quickly enough, right? These machines aren't yours anymore. These machines belong to the factory. I say this constantly. The machines belong to the factory, and the purpose of them is you doing the factory's bidding and not the other way around. It's very evil, and people need to know what's happening. And I'm the only tech ethicist in the world, apparently, who's talking about this stuff, right? As much as I always wondered why I took the path I did in life, where I have some technical background and some business background. Apparently, that's very needed, because not enough people have the ability to bridge these two industries, and not enough people have the verbal skills to explain what's happening in this demented and twisted industry. Anyway, to combat this, the highly anticipated 8 Series will have an autopilot feature that takes over mid-drive when the car needs an oil change or other maintenance, directly chauffeuring you to the nearest available dealer and staying there until it gets fixed. That part's the satire, but I said this a couple years ago on my old show that, if Internet Explorer can be vicious and disgusting, and Edge, Microsoft Edge, which is the Internet Explorer's evil cousin, where you're trying to use Chrome or Firefox and they attack you when you try to even download it, and they attack you when you try to set those alternatives as your preferred browser. I said, if that's already happening, then it's not a far stretch to say that your vehicle won't allow you to drive to a competitor's dealership. Right? What if you're driving to a Ford dealership and your Ram or your Chevy says, you know what? I don't want you going there. Shame on you. Why don't you check out what I have instead? Right? That's not far behind. All of this stuff is evil. We're already seeing it in computers, and all of this evil is spilling over into cars. I know I go on these tangents, but I'm just so upset and need people to know the evil that's happening right before your eyes. You can do something about it now. The sooner you do something about it, the better. The easier it'll be to get rid of this plague. You can now download theme packs for warning chimes, including one that differentiates when the temperature is below 37 from when your engine is getting ready to explode. That's actually needed in a BMW now. My engine exploded every day. My brother had one that was even newer than mine, and it had less miles than mine, and the engine exploded much sooner. An additional option features celebrity voices, including John Cleese calling you stupid for not wearing your seatbelt. Side note, in reality, just yesterday I was helping someone with a brand new Escalade, and there's a secret option. Luckily, it was turned off by default, but it was a secret option that says prevent driver from shifting into drive until seatbelt is buckled. That's why we don't have real gear shifts anymore. That's why. Okay, not only do these evil people save a penny by putting those electronic shifters in there that are horribly confusing, but also those evil electronic shifters are controlled by software. And if you don't have your seatbelt buckled, you're not allowed to drive. Okay, that's reality, that's happening. And I believe in Ram trucks, if your driver door is open, you're not allowed to drive. Listen, folks, I'm not an idiot. I know that driving with your door open or driving without a seatbelt is a bad idea, all right? But it's not linear. This isn't a sliding scale here. Life isn't that simple. Okay, number one, all technology is evil and unreliable, and all of this technology will start blowing false alarms. And most of the time, I bet you a couple of years from now, when all these seatbelt things keep breaking and the computers break and the sensors break and the doors and everything else, it'll blow false alarms and it will punish those who are trying to do the right thing. Okay, so even if you do have your door closed and your seatbelt on, the technology is evil and incompetent, and it's made by incompetent slobs, and it will punish and attack you. Okay, secondly, there are exceptions when you do need to drive with your door open. For example, if you're leaning your head out the window to try to back into a boat landing, Okay, if your Ram truck is towing a boat, you need to have your head out the window to make sure you are putting the boat in the water safely. There are legitimate uses. There are times when you might need to drive without a seatbelt on, or if you're a mechanic and you're testing something or whatever. But it's not up to them to control us. It should not be up to these evil designers to control us. Okay, remember, all of this software is closed source, meaning you are helpless and there is nothing you or even I can do to fight against it. Stop buying new cars, boycott all of them, tell them you are enraged, and they should stop making all technology, and we should all go back to Ford Model Ts. This is all evil. Anyway, she goes on, and I wish we could laugh at this, but this is all just symbolic of what's about to happen, of this technology encroaching on us, right? It may be satire, but it's not far from the truth. For all you diehard gearheads, BMW is bringing back the dipstick. The bad news is the end of the dipstick rests in an oil-filled bottle that isn't connected to anything. It's just like the fake acceleration noises that they're putting. You might not realize this, but newer Fords and BMWs have fake acceleration noises that the car stereo pipes through your speakers. So you sound cool. Why don't they just get rid of some of the sound deadening material? Or just stop coming up with stupid ideas? You're all a bunch of ADD control freaks. At the press of a button, the whole vehicle can be enveloped by an invisible, impenetrable zone, flinging anything bigger than a grasshopper and preventing it from hitting your car. This technology is strictly proprietary, but this automated deflector system is exceptionally powerful when paired with active cruise control with stop and go, but not so much when using parking assist to parallel park, which will cause your car to ricochet helplessly back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you run out of fuel. Okay, again, that's a joke, but what she's saying is, if you have billions of different control packages and assistance packages and automated packages, they all fight against each other, because none of this stuff is designed with care, and none of this stuff is ever designed with consequences in mind, and none of it is ever tested. It's all made up by slobs who have these constant ideas in their head and don't have any self-control, and they just implement things, and then the features end up fighting with each other. And you do see that in the real world. Relentless tailgating and significant velocity are stereotypical traits of BMW drivers. However, those of us who don't enjoy someone hanging on our own tail can rejoice in special bumpers with proximity sensors that automatically activate blinding brake lights when someone gets too close. Because of the Takata airbag debacle, BMW is now offering a Michelin Man-style motorcycle suit that inflates at the moment of impact. That'll be next. They have 900 airbags all over these cars, which make the car less repairable and usually don't protect you. So now they're talking about a motorcycle suit that inflates. BMW is experimenting with cutting-edge technology, which, if you're being overly aggressive, removes all road signs and lane markings from view, so you're immediately forced to slow down and pay more attention to your driving and actually make eye contact with other road users. That's her idea, and she's really good about that, like where she wants people to actually pay attention on the road instead of these assistance systems taking over for you. So this would actually be nice, where I call it the Matador method in my own philosophies, but they're saying, step aside and let people actually wake up and control themselves. That would be great. Finally, she closes by saying Amazon's Alexa will be integrated into new BMWs. However, rumor has it may conflict with Apple Siri, causing catfights in the car, and then you'll have to have noise-canceling software updates after that. Okay. Here's January 2020, Car and Driver. On their winners and losers section, Ben Yang, aka Ben Baller, earned himself a private audience with Elon Musk after crafting a $37,000 diamond and ruby encrusted ring featuring the Tesla logo as a token of appreciation for him. The invitation was later revoked after Yang posted an anti-Tesla rant on Instagram while trapped inside of his powered-down Tesla Model X. Okay? Again, folks, these electronic controls, those electronic door handles now, let's talk about those. If your car battery dies, your door handle doesn't work anymore because it's evil electronics. So you can't get out of your own car. Okay, now supposedly there's some kind of fail-safe method, but these need to be taught. And how about we just stop using evil electronic door handles and put real freaking door handles that never have a problem ever? Again, none of these jokers who design these products have ever, ever, ever thought about consequences. Or if they do, they just laugh them off. Oh yeah, no one's ever going to have a low battery. When does that ever happen? Yeah. Yeah, like smartphones, huh? Everyone on this planet right now with an iPhone has a low battery because all iPhones have 1% battery at all times, and no one seems to think that this is wrong. So yeah, your car battery isn't going to go low in your Tesla, so yeah, that's fine. And then people are getting locked in their own cars. It's one thing if your battery dies and you can't get in your car, but imagine not being able to get out. For Christmas, my mom got me this little flashlight that has a metal hammer built into it so you can smash out of your window if your car is ever pushed off a cliff into a river or something. And I suppose everyone with an electric car is going to need one of those things. Okay, they go on. In the U.S., more pedestrians and cyclists died in 2018 than any year since 1990. Perhaps not surprising, considering AAA study found that many pedestrian detection systems don't work at night, and 3/4 of pedestrian deaths occur after dark. So again, you are a consumer who is lulled into thinking that these detection systems are reliable when in fact they are not. They are evil. And if you heard my episode a couple episodes ago, we talked about how AAA found that most autonomous technology is utter garbage and does not work. Anyway, former Daimler CEO Dieter Zetsche proved he's still the DRZ when he used the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX example, right, where the Boeing was controlled by evil software, and the evil software didn't bother releasing the landing wheels. He used it as a mic drop opportunity, pointing out that all it takes is one spectacular incident to deflate enthusiasm for computer control. Beautiful, thank you, Dr. Z. That, or Fruit Loops, after researchers at University of Richmond taught rats to drive plastic little cars as a means of obtaining the sugary Fruit Loop cereal, the lead scientist reported, our research suggests that stress levels decrease as we gain a sense of control over our environment. Let me repeat that. Our research suggests that stress levels decrease as we gain a sense of control over our environment. It's no surprise to me that our psychologists and psychiatrists and counselors' offices have a line out the door, because modern society is evil, because modern society tries to control us. And the real result, and I'm going to write this in my next book because it talks about psychology, my next book is going to talk about how we are all anxious because we don't feel there's any control in our lives. We feel like we have no control over life. Well, guess what? The cause is this technology. Okay? Again, they said our research suggests as stress levels decrease as we gain a sense of control over our environment. All of this technology is just going to make it worse. Okay, Autoblog.com, March of 2020. BMW may be first automaker to get Apple CarKey feature. And this is actually what I call an anti-feature, where yes, physically it's a feature, but it's actually something that makes your life harder and worse, more complicated, and makes the machine a lot more unreliable, okay, a lot less reliable. Apple's iOS 13.4, that's this minute's version of iOS, because every minute they make it different and worse, has something called CarKey. CarKey will be functionality allowing a car owner to lock, unlock, and start their car with their iPhone or Apple Watch. The vehicle would be needed near-field communication, which is a small antenna, basically. The same protocol Hyundai uses for its digital key and Tesla uses for its Model 3 key cards. CarKey points to BMW being the first car maker to get access to the feature. And here's another example of Like last time we talked about GM and Microsoft getting together because they're both the most incompetent organizations in their fields. So this is a situation when BMW and Apple, which are the most overdeveloped, oversaturated, over-controlling, overloaded brands, are getting together, right? Both brands are kind of similar in my view because they both are all about the show. They used to be great brands, in the old days they were great brands, but now they have nothing to offer. So they just come out with billions of overloaded features that no one wants, and they just look good, and people who buy them are just people who want to look good and don't actually care about reliability. All right, Apple's the most brutal, controlling organization I've ever seen. And they control everything you do, and they love locking you out of your phone and punishing you. So guess what? Just like the satire column we just read a few minutes ago, this is going to happen in reality where, remember, 99% of people on Earth, in my professional opinion, 99% of people on Earth don't know their iCloud password. So if your phone punishes you and attacks you or gets an update attack, you won't be able to get into your car anymore. You won't be able to start your car. Your car will be stuck. And you're going to see this all over the place. Just like I said 5 years ago when Apple started attacking people with the T2 chip and they started making computers that were unrepairable. And I said 5 years from now, people are going to start to notice. And sure enough, I saw an article the other day that said all of these MacBook Pros are now unusable. People use them for a couple of years and then they have to put them in the garbage because of the iCloud lock scandal and the unrepairability scandal. Anyway, so mark my words, 5 years from now, with all of this CarKey garbage, people are going to be locked out of their cars left and right because Apple is going to punish you and Apple is going to suspect you of being an imposter and a thief. They're going to blow false alarms and they're going to start attacking the rightful owners of these iPhones and cars. Okay? After pairing the phone with the car's NFC near-field communication transmitter, all permissions are controlled through Apple Wallet. A backup pairing method uses a PIN code if the automatic process doesn't work. To unlock, the phone only needs to be near the vehicle. You don't have to remove it from your pocket or your bag. That's cool. Shows 3 levels of permission. Trunk access, access only just to get in the thing, or access and drive. Okay, so that's similar to a valet key, but now it's just hyper complicated. So it might start locking people out, because remember, all update attacks are made by incompetent slobs. So your iPhone might get an update attack. It'll either toast the phone and toast your permission. It'll wipe out your phone's permission to use the car. That's very, very likely. Okay, we see it all the time with less important things where your phone is wiped out and you lose all sorts of things. So imagine if it wipes out your permission to get into your own gosh darn car. Okay. A CarKey owner can request that the app be authenticated through Touch ID or Face ID before use, again blowing a false alarm and accusing you. Or enable express use that doesn't ask for proof. I like express use because it means just let me in and stop validating me. Honestly, I don't lock my cars when I go to most places. I don't care. I don't lock my car. Stop buying showy cars that you have to show off all the time if you have low self-esteem, and just buy a normal car. I drive a 20-something-year-old car most of the time, and I don't care. Okay? So express use is a good idea because it doesn't attack for Face ID every time you get into your car. However, it's still controlled by the phone, so it gives you a false sense of security, okay? It's just like when people click remember password and the computer says, yeah, I'll remember your password, and they have a false sense of security thinking they're okay forever, when in reality, that computer will eventually destroy the password. So that's why it's important to keep your passwords written down and don't ever trust technology. That's my whole point. The digital key can be loaned to others permanently or temporarily, and can be shared through iMessage, text messaging, with individuals. When the key is shared through iMessage, the recipient receives a notification that the vehicle owner invites you to use their vehicle with unlock and drive access. It's simple, easy, and convenient, is what they're going to say, right? They're going to tout this garbage. But guess what? Since people are just randomly dating random people all the time and randomly hooking up with random people all the time, they're going to start giving these random people access to their cars through iMessage, and then you're going to have people breaking up with each other and then breaking into each other's cars and driving them away. That's all you're going to see, because this is all chaos that's going to make human life worse. Providing customers with simple, connected, keyless access to their vehicles has been a key area of innovation, they say. This is only the first step in a global technological transformation being shaped and led by the BMW Group. In other words, they're the dumbest ones, and everyone is going to follow them, right? Unfortunately, when Apple turned evil a bunch of years ago, people in the industry, their competitors, didn't realize it, so they kept following them. Right? Apple used to come up with good innovations like two-finger scroll and so many other things, MagSafe cords, and so the industry followed them in those regards, and that's great, but the industry didn't realize Apple fell apart in 2018, so they're still following them like lemmings, and they're following them off a cliff and doing whatever dumb decisions Apple comes up with. It's just a house of cards, and it's just many, many, many points of failure. It's hyper-centralized control, and all of this is server-dependent. And by the way, folks, I keep saying, mark my words, we're going to have people locked out of their cars all the time. Guess what? A couple years ago, Tesla had a Labor Day outage because for some stupid reason, Tesla decided to trust Microsoft Azure for their servers. So these people had a Tesla app on their phones, and they could allow it to unlock their Teslas and start them and drive them. And the Tesla app, guess what, folks? Apps are dependent on evil cloud services. So they had one Labor Day, the evil Microsoft cloud service went down. So the app on your phone would call home and say, hey, Tesla app on Microsoft Azure, can I get into my car? Hey, Tesla app on Microsoft Azure, please, can I get into my car? And of course, since it was a Microsoft product, the thing crashed and went down. So everyone who owned a Tesla was locked out of their car on that particular Labor Day a few years ago. That's except for the people who use the real key card. There's some kind of a little metal card that you can use instead, and that protects you from this evil app nonsense, so that it just works, okay? It's a little stupid metal card. You keep it in your pocket and you're fine. And it helps you avoid all of this centralized validation. Okay, that is the problem, right? I've said this before. You go to parties and you talk to engineers, and if you pose a societal problem to them, their answer is always centralized validation, centralized control, and societal manipulation. Okay. BMW is a charter member of the Car Connectivity Consortium, CCC, okay, and that's a good thing. It's a consortium that creates industrial standards, so they, at least, if they're all going to go off a cliff, they're all going to do it together in one standard. At least there's an industrial standard, right? Because a really bad scenario would be if all of these manufacturers started using all sorts of proprietary technologies for unlocking their cars and autonomous technology and car-to-car communication and blah, 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 if they all went on their own, right? Because that's what the computer industry did. There's plenty of situations where they just go off and make their own proprietary standard, and then nothing's compatible with other brands, and then it's a nightmare. And honestly, there are situations like if you have a Netgear combo box or, heaven forbid, an Amazon Eero wireless mesh system, it's not compatible with certain wireless cards, and too bad for you. It's because the slobs who designed them didn't bother obeying the industrial standard called Wi-Fi. Anyway, Car Connectivity Consortium released its NFC Digital Key 2.0 protocol, okay? And maximum anti-theft protection, right? No, actually. No. It's actually minimum anti-theft protection because someone can easily break into this garbage. It's all wireless. You don't even have to break into the car and do the hot wiring anymore. You just sit outside the car and you get a laptop or a smartphone and you download some evil program and bam, you're into someone's car. You can break in very easily. All of this stuff is the false promise of technology. It falsely gives people a false sense of security. Hey, guess what? For the past 5 or 10 years, people have used wireless laptops to get into Honda Accords and actually control them. And now that your gear shifter lever is electronically controlled, what did we say 20 minutes ago? Your gear shift lever is electronically controlled by evil software that can be broken into. Guess what? A bad guy with a laptop can not only break into your car, but they can also start it and tell it to move forward or backward or do whatever they want. Meanwhile, if you want to get a new key made for your car, it's no longer $7 at the hardware store. Now you have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars and beg the dealership to beg the factory cloud to make you a key. Okay? Again, it's one thing if it was you get what you pay for. It's one thing if it was more secure, but it is innately less secure because it uses a centralized validation system and it uses wireless control, and it's all controlled by software, which can be broken into very easily. So they say it's maximum anti-theft protection when in reality it is the exact opposite. Apple already supports, 2018 patent technology allowing an iPhone to manage vehicle features. Another patent laying out a system to use Bluetooth and ultra-wideband to locate a device and then exchange a digital key. Or guess what? Buy an old car and hand someone your freaking metal key, and then you'll never have a problem ever again. You can get an old car's metal key made for $7 at the hardware store, and then you hand it to someone, and then you're fine. And then no one will be able to break into your car wirelessly, and no evil manufacturer will be able to lock you out of their car because their cloud servers aren't working. Or, oh, you know what? Your car's too old, and your key is too old, and it's not compatible with next week's iPhone. Huh? Tell your friends, folks. Tell your friends that the nightmares you are experiencing with your desktop computer are about to occur in the automotive industry. Oh yeah, this car is no longer compatible with this week's iPhone. Why did the scumbag talk you into this week's iPhone at the store? It's a rat race. Okay, it's what I call the update attack rat race, where everything is updated every 12 minutes so that you have to buy a new phone, and then your phone won't work with your car, so you'll have to buy a new car, and then your car won't be compatible with your garage, so you'll have to buy a new house. You get it? You see where I'm going, folks? Tell your friends. This is all going to happen. Buy old cars. Buy cars that don't have technology in them. Tell your dealership to give some feedback to the factory that you don't want any of this. Mark Anthony Arena, your computer exorcist. Find out more about me at thecomputerexorcist.com. Thanks so much for telling your friends about the show. And if you want to learn how to protect people, then start out by reading my book, How to Protect Yourself from Your Computer. It's available wherever books are sold. Thanks so much. We'll yell at you next week.
Sacrifice.